How dare you question evolution? How fucking dare you question evolution? If you knew anything about science, you would know that evolution is a scientific fact and a theory. Stupid creationist, you don't like evolution because it contradicts your Bible. Ha 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 ha. Stupid creationist, you scientific illiterate piece of shit. Hello guys, this is Aces here, and today I'm going to talk about the evolutionist syndrome. Alright, so what is the evolutionist syndrome? Well, basically, the evolutionist syndrome is a syndrome where evolutionists, they try to defend their theory regardless whether the evidence goes against it or not. In addition, evolutionists like to cover their ears and put their head in the sand like if they were ostriches. One of the best tactics evolutionists use to defend their theory is by throwing childish insults such as stupid creationist, stupid intelligent science advocate, stupid scientific illiterate who knows nothing about science, and other stupid things. If these stupid evolutionists know anything about science like they claim, they will know that there's no such thing as proof in science. Proof only exists in mathematics and things that can be self-observed. Now, one of the funniest part about this is that they compare evolution with gravity. Now, that's problematic because evolution is not as observable as gravity, nor the journeys that we observe in microscope. Evolution, according to them, occurs millions of years. How can you compare something that is non-observable and occurs millions of years, but compare that to gravity? Obviously, it's a false comparison because evolution is not the same thing as gravity, because it's not observable as we do with gravity. Now, the second thing I would like to point out too is that a scientific theory is nothing but a hypothesis that has been widely supported and backed up by many experimental evidence. Now, evolutionists claim that natural selection and gene mutation actually create new species. Now, this is problematic because there is actually no experimental evidence in molecular biology that shows that gene mutations actually can create speciation in the metazones. Does gene mutation actually change the genetic material in species? Yeah, I agree, but it is only limited to the change of alleles. But there is no evidence that shows that these gene mutations have actually caused these species to speciate in different environments and different geographical places. Epigenetics, which is contrary to Darwinian evolution, actually provides a mechanism how these species adapt to their environment and how they speciate in different geographical and different places. This has been experimentally verified under molecular biology studies. Epigenetics is a new scientific study of genetics that shows how the genome actually responds to different environments and how species can adapt without changing the DNA sequence. But in epigenetics, it does not change the DNA sequence, so no mutation is required. So basically, epigenetics is a study of how species adapt and speciate in their environment without changing the DNA sequence within their genome. Alright, so let's get started with the evolutionist claims of what they call evidence. One of the claims that evolutionists point as evidence for evolution is the fossil record of transitional fossils. Now, this is quite problematic because experts such as Stephen Jay Gould have actually admitted that the fossil record lacks transitional fossil. Now, when we talk about transitional, we're talking about gradual stages that occur over millions of years. According to Charles Darwin's theory, if evolution was real, then we should see stages of species gradually evolving millions of years. In other words, there should be connections of how the species that we observe in the fossil record now receive their changes quite gradually. Now, the funny thing about it is that evolutionists, they created this term called punctuated equilibrium. Punctuated equilibrium was created by Stephen Jay Gould to explain away why there were missing links or missing gradual transitions in the fossil record. Now, the funny thing is that punctuated equilibrium, it's not really a scientific theory because, first of all, it is not falsifiable nor testable. How exactly do you test punctuated equilibrium that occurs over millions of years? But how is that even possible? How can you test that if the theory won't last long till millions of years? Punctuated equilibrium basically states that one species can suddenly evolve to another species in less than 20,000 years or so, but it is so fast that it should not leave any gradual stages of those fossils. Now, keep in mind that these sudden changes actually occur over millions of years. Punctuated equilibrium, as I said before, is nothing but an ad hoc pseudo-scientific explanation to save Darwin's theory from the Mr. Link's dilemma. Charles Darwin has clearly said to himself that if there are no transitional stages of how the fossils they reach a form, then his theory should be rejected. However, neo-Darwinists they save his theory by creating punctuated equilibrium as an ad hoc excuse. Now, will you call that science? I don't think so. And Stevie J. Gold, there is no such thing as super mutations, suddenly making species evolve into something else super fast. That is just a fairy tale, fabricated and just soul stories. Now back to the evolutionist syndrome. What? You dare challenge the fossil record, saying that there's no transitional forms? Dumbass, look at the Tiktaalik. Look at that fossil. Oh my god, it's a transitional form. Look, it has legs and it has a reptilian face. How can you not call that transitional evidence for evolution? Fucking dumbass creationist piece of shit. You don't know nothing about science. Ha ha ha, get out of my life. Go study your Bible, dumbass. What a fucking joke. Hey, evolutionists. If you say that those legs of the Tiktaalik is actually evidence for evolution, then explain why the incubator bird in Australia has the characteristics of a chicken and of a bird, but as a really unique bird as the platypus. You're telling me that just because a species has a characteristics that is unique to other animals, it is therefore evidence for evolution? Dumbass. Look at the Australian bird. It has chicken legs. And yet it's a bird. It's not supposed to have chicken legs according to your evolutionary theory because the phylogenetic trees say so. What a fucking joke. And talk about begging the question and circular reasoning. Oh look, that fossil has similar forms to other forms of fossils. Therefore, evolution has been proven because it is a transitional form. Dumbass. They can't even tell whether it's an amphibian, a real amphibian such as an alligator, or is it really from a fish. They really can't tell that. They just only presume that it is a transitional fossil. Oh yeah, and talking about the phylogenetic tree, that is also pretty retarded as well. According to evolutionists, the phylogenetic tree can be falsified by finding a vestigial organ that contradicts the phylogeny. Humans with remnants of gills or whales with remnants of wings are extreme examples, or something like that. Again, we determine if it is vestigial of ancestry by the phylogenetic tree. Also, the pelvises and whales are vestigial, as I have said. So basically what they're saying is that the vestigial organs, they're unique according to the phylogenetic tree. Now, that is pretty retarded because I can easily debunk that with the platypus. The platypus is a semi-aquatic mammal endemic to eastern Australia, including Tasmania. Now, where the hell does that animal belong in the phylogenetic tree? Mammals? Mammals don't lay eggs. Fishes? Fishes don't have legs. That's pretty weird. I thought the phylogenetic tree was supposed to be a scientific fact. And yet, the platypus completely contradicts it and blows it out the water. Now let's look at the Venus flytrap. Where does that belong in the plant ancestor tree? Can you provide me any ancestor that shows this Venus ancestor? Of course not. Why? Because the phylogenetic tree is absolute bullshit. We don't share common characteristics with ancestors. Universal ancestry is just a bullshit story that evolutionists like to spill out. Now here comes the evolutionist syndrome. Dumbass, we share 98% similarity of chimps of their DNA. How can you say that we don't share no common ancestor? Dumbass, please learn science. Ha 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 ha. Go study the Bible, dumbass. Dumbass. The human genome has proved that what you call 98% similarity is actually nothing but the protein coding genes within our genome. The protein coding genes actually consists of 2% in our DNA. Now the human genome has proved consistently that the DNA actually consists at least 80% of biochemical regions. Now when you compare this biochemical sequences in a genome, you can actually see that the similarity between apes and humans, they actually quite differ a lot. So how can you say that our DNA is 90%, or our genome is 98%, when the biochemical regions or the non-functional coding is really different compared to chimps? Wow, talk about evolutionists, dumbasses. And also, it seems that every similar thing or every thing that doesn't have a function is considered evidence of evolution to them. Now that's pretty retarded, because they're just begging the question, and they're just presuming. And it's like the gods of the yeah, it's just like the creation's argument. I don't know it, God did it. Same thing with evolution. I don't know what these functional sequences do, so it must be evolution, because it must have been due to mutations that no longer work from an ancestors. Wow, evolution is a fucking joke. I don't even know why people buy into that bullshit. Well, that's about it, guys. And if you have any questions, concerns, please let me know in the comment section below. And evolutionists, continue putting on your heads on the dirt. I don't really care. But one thing is for sure, there's no such thing as a phylogenetic tree, and there's no such thing as we share a universal ancestor. Alright, this is Ace here, and thanks for watching.